What's up? Gabe here. I made this video to go along with my closing of the year video. I decided to pull it off just because it was a little funky and it kind of derailed the whole video, but like as its own like standalone thing, I thought it would work out really well. Thank you in advance for watching. Hope you guys enjoy. Oh shit. What's up? So I guess continuing off of what we were talking about before regarding photography, there's actually a couple pictures that I had for the year that I was really proud of and that I wanted to show off. So we're just gonna get into that. So it's like a top 9, but it's like top 5 and then 4 of them are honorable mentions because I didn't really have anywhere to rank them in any particular order. I just kind of liked them equally. So we'll get into it then. So this first one here is actually of like a boat dock of when I went to Georgia. I really like this picture. It was very surprising to me. Like this was not edited at all. I was testing out actually a new film stock. It was Cinestill 400D. Like it had just come out like a month or 2 prior, and I was just kind of giving it a little bit of a rip. The results were pretty crazy. I really just kind of like how it's kind of like a purplish pinkish red. Like there's like that kind of hue, or it's more exaggerated because that was what was present the actual shooting of this picture, because I was doing it during the morning because the sunrise was peeking over the trees, as you can see. I just really like how it really just kind of emphasizes the sun coming over the trees in the background and then it reflecting off the water. And then there's a bunch of fog coming off the water, and I really like the focal point of it, just like the boat dock with the 2 boats and all the stuff like that. Genuinely, I just think it is a really good picture, and I'm very proud of it. That is why it's my top 1 for the year. So this picture right here is actually top 2 of 5. This one was of a shoot that I did with one of my buddies. I was really happy with the way it turned out. Really like how everything behind him is out of focus and he's the only thing that's in focus. And I like being able to kind of like partially see the industrial background, and that was one of his like biggest things. But I really like this picture just because I'm pretty proud of how professional it looks and came out. And yeah, just the whole composition of it I'm super proud of. Okay, so this is number 3 of 5, and the location kind of ended up happening by chance. I was at work, and there's this one place that I had to go to, and I ended up walking out, and then it was like, boom, there is this view right here. I'm really surprised at how good the picture is able to capture all of like the beauty. I was actually using my phone for this one just because like I was at work. I couldn't bring my mirrorless camera or like my film camera or anything like that. The phone captures it perfectly. I was so shocked. I really like the composition of it all. I like how everything kind of flows in one direction. Like you got the bridge in the foreground that kind of follows the river, and then the clouds also above are kind of following the river. Everything's flowing towards the right hand side of the image. I love the colors of it too. It's super bright. I captured it, I think, right when it was transitioning from summer to fall, so there's some very light fall colors in there, and it's all still super green and lively, and it just looks good. So this is number 4 of the top 5, and this one actually has a lot of backstory to it. Where I live, there is a mall that has been pretty much dead for about a decade or so. The reason why it ended up becoming a dead mall is because in the early 2000s, late 90s, it actually went through some renovations that didn't end up going too well, I guess, or it just like took too long or something like that. So it's got this crazy indoor like architectural design, and it just looks insane. Like I said, like it kind of never recovered from the amount of time that it was closed then. So you are then left with 1.5 million square feet of just crazy indoor architecture. It was appealing to me because I remember as a kid very vaguely going to this place. There was like a play area falling apart, not maintained at all. So going back and seeing like a part of my childhood still there, but deteriorating, I thought was very interesting. So the biggest thing that I wanted to do was, it was kind of like a personal project where I just wanted to go and document everything that was there as much as I could. And this was one of the images that actually came from that, like personal documentation. This is the main gathering areas. Got like those posts where people would make food, or give out information and stuff like that. Colors of the place are insane, pops out at you. Just all the shapes and stuff like that that they used in it. It's very attention grabbing, and I think it was very on par for the time period. So being able to kind of see like a time capsule still around, I think was super interesting. And I think just seeing the way things used to be, especially when it's like as good of an example as this is, where it's like for the most part preserved, but kind of deteriorating. I think it's just kind of important to kind of document as much as you can. It's a very telling story, even though the picture looks super bright and fun. It's actually very dead. I think that's why I like it so much. So this is number 5 of 5, but this one actually was when I was in West Virginia earlier this year. There's a lot of, since it's in the mountains, there's a lot of points where it's like scenic views and whatnot where you can pull off and check it out. And this was one of those. It's a very simple picture. It's just like 90% sky and then mountains and wind turbines, but I still really like it. The film I used with this was Fuji C200 RIP. I just like the way that the sky looks like a painting. I just like how the mountains are kind of rolling over themselves, and then I just like the wind turbines on top. Like, I think it's a very simple picture, and I'm very happy with it. So this is number 1 of the honorable mentions. It's just a kayak launch, so it's nothing too special, but I just like how it's very like green, and then when you transition to the like tannish elements, it turns very red. I think on this one I used Ektar 100 for the first time, so I was kind of just giving it a shot, and I really just kind of like the way that it looks. To me, it kind of gives me a little bit of like a homey, summery vibe. I'm just happy with it. I know I said they weren't really in any particular order, but personally this one is like probably my favorite, just because of all aspects of the image. I think this is from
Max Patch
on part of the Appalachian Trail. We went to Hot Springs, North Carolina. The goal was to get here right at sunset, and we did, like right when it was pretty much like peak. And as you can see, I mean, the colors are just insane. I really like the blues, the purples, and then how it transitions into the like pink and orange. And then just like the green, like everything looking super lively, the mountains just kind of rolling off into the distance and kind of layering behind each other and fading. And then I just like the clouds, how they also just kind of fade into the background. And I just think it is a very pretty and beautiful image. I'm very lucky that I was able to be there and experience this at this time, and I'm very happy that I was able to capture it. And I think that's why that is one of my this is one of my favorite images of the year. So honorable mention number 3 is pretty much of just a foggy trail. So backstory behind this was I was in West Virginia again, and my girlfriend and I were hiking on a trail on top of a mountain. I can't remember the name of the mountain, but it was really close to our cabin. The day was like, it was kind of a shitty day. It was raining, mountain was super foggy. That actually ended up being a really cool thing, because I've never been on a mountain when it's super foggy before. So it would be like you're hiking this trail and then you look out and then there's just nothing. So it was very surreal and kind of otherworldly. I feel like, again, I felt very lucky to be in a situation like that, because even though we went for a view, we kind of saw some other kind of view, you know? Like it was very otherworldly, because it was just like you'd be at we got to the peak and then we looked out and it was just straight white. There's nothing. And it was like, holy shit. This is literally insane. It feels like we're just kind of in the middle of nothingness. And then this was like on the way up. So this was like kind of just a trail wrapping around a rock. And I really think it kind of depicts the situation perfectly, where it's just like the fog and you can kind of see the trail and the trees fading in the background. And it's wrapping around the rock that's in the foreground. And yeah, I just really like the colors of it, the grays, the greens. For me, I felt like it was kind of a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to see something like this. So I was very happy. So this one's the top 4 of the honorable mentions. And I just like this one because it kind of goes with the theme of being very like otherworldly. I just like all the green that's in it. It's very just like makes it very bright. And then I kind of like how there's like 2 different ways that the picture kind of flows. So it's like the trees are going straight up and down. So it like takes you up to the blue sky and then takes you down to the green leaves and stuff like that. Then also on the way down too, like towards the bottom left, you can kind of see the trail too, and how that kind of flows all the way into the back. So it just kind of gives you like multiple things to look at, and it's like a natural way to kind of direct your eyes to different places. And I think that's why I really like the image. There's just so much depth to the image. That's why it is my like top 4 honorable mentions.
Future Gabe again. Those were my
top pictures of the year. There's only about 9 of them. I know I explained like why I did it the way I did. I was gonna do a top 7, but I couldn't really like narrow down exactly what I wanted, so I just did a top 5 and then the 4 honorable mentions. I just felt like that personally made sense for me, since those last 4 weren't necessarily my favorites, but they were still really good in my opinion. But yeah, that's the video. Thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoyed it. So see you in the next one. Have a good one.